Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And today I am giving thanks to my Instagram followers and YouTube subscribers. I guess I just kind of coined that right now, but got this Warrior Nas X, basically brand new, strung up with Otter mesh. And I'm gonna do a review on the Otter mesh. This is my first experience with it. And then also give you guys a pattern. I'm going to redo the sidewall. I left this one string long for that purpose. And then I'm going to install the shooters. And yeah, that's it. So, got this head in the mail yesterday. And I was outside taking some family pictures for like the Christmas card or whatever. My mom gets the mail and she's like, "Oh, you got a package, James?" I was like, "Oh, sick." And I opened it. I was like, "Nos." So, yeah, I decided to string this up today while watching some football. So, I guess I'll get at it. I can't even really explain the pattern verbally because it's a little complicated, but I'll try 9-diamond top string, tie in on the second sidewall hole, skip a knot SI. So it's an SI, but instead of doing a regular interlock, once you go through the top of the mesh hole, you do a knot and then you go back up it. I'll show you guys when I redo the sidewall. And then another KSI, and instead of doing a regular one here, I got a little bit funky to try to pull the channel a little bit tighter. So I went from that KSI through the top of the next 9-diamond row, and then I went through the 10-diamond row, looped it back up through that same 10-diamond row into a 2 SI. And then from there, I went from a 1 through the top to an SI to a 1 through the outside of the sidewall hole and tie off in the last. So I'm going to redo this now, show you guys it so you understand completely. Redo the whole thing. I wonder what you guys are saying on Instagram. I see my phone blowing up. So just give me a minute to undo this. And I will do it step by step, knot by knot. Usually, I'm not one to give out patterns, but it's not like I'm stringing consistently the Nas X with Otter mesh for customers. I usually only string with Power Web for customers unless someone gives me mesh. So, okay, here we go. Wow, someone just commented. There you go, man. Shout out Joshua_brand Segura. There you go, bro. Way to just be in sync with me. Here we go. So, to start I'm gonna try to get you guys just the best view. Okay. Tie in on the second hole. This time I wrapped it around twice. Through the top of the first mesh hole, and then through the outside of that fourth sidewall hole. And to do a knot, see that? You get this slack, you go over through the top of it, so you're just going to do a knot. Pull it tight. And then you go back up, and that's your first KSI. You're going to do it again. So you go through the top of the next mesh hole, that's your third mesh hole, third 10-diamond. Through the top of the loop you created. Pull it tight by pulling it all the way through the sidewall hole, then pulling that slack back over. You're back through, you go back up that sidewall hole.
or that mesh hole, through the fourth mesh hole outside of the sidewall, and then that's your third KSI. And these KSIs make it a little bit tighter than a regular SI would. So from here, this is where you get funky. Where can you see it best? Okay, from here, you go through the top of that 9 diamond mesh hole, and you go back up through that 10 diamond one right below it. And that essentially pulls it tighter because you're bringing this right here and just pulling it over. So pull that tight, and then you went through the bottom of this. You went through the 9 diamond, up through the 10 diamond. You go back around and up through the 10 diamond again, which kind of twists the mesh. I actually didn't really see this coming. I never would have thought of it if it wasn't for another Instagram user that gave me some help. I sent him a DM and he just suggested it, so I tried it out. His name is that_Kiwi_guy. He's from New Zealand. He strings up a bunch of mesh pockets with String King, so very knowledgeable. I would suggest following him if you like stringing, or if, lacrosse enthusiast. So then from there, once you twist that, you get a 2 SI. So to do that, you go through the mesh once, through the top, and then another mesh, which will double it up and create 2 SI. So from there, you go through the outside of the sidewall hole and do a regular interlock. This isn't a 2 KSI, I guess you'd call it. It's just a regular 2 SI. So that you do that, you go up through that mesh hole, bottom one, and you go up through the next one and creates your 2 SI. Okay, from here, go through the top of the next mesh hole and then through the top of the next one. There's 2 in this row, so 1 and then an SI. So do an SI, go through the outside, interlock it, and then go back out through the top. And the last knot is through the top of the mesh hole, through the second to last sidewall hole, through the inside of the last sidewall hole, and then you're going to tie it off. And that just gives you this perfect mid pocket, channeled. And now I can go back to normal view to talk about the pocket a little bit. Alright, so actually let me just cut and burn this first because I'm done with it now. So temporarily out of Bic lighters, which is my preference, so I got this cigarette or grill lighter. I like the little flick ones, those are a lot easier in my opinion. So friends blowing me up. So Nas with Otter mesh, just showed you guys a pattern. I guess I'll talk about the Otter mesh now. It is the lightest thing I've ever strung a stick with, hands down. I picked it up at a tournament about 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was waiting for a high-end head to string it. I had that RP3, but I decided I want something white and just keep it all white, nice and clean. So this is the head I decided to string it up on once I got this. A lot of meshes have to break in and I never really used String King before, 1S, 1X, 2S, 2X, none of them. I've strung like a used piece of 1S, but that was already, quote, broken in, so like, I don't know. This is, the pocket's gonna stay this way for the duration of however long you have in your stick. I feel like it's just not elastic at all. Like, it's not gonna have any give when the ball comes in it or is going out of it. Like, this is how the pocket's always going to be for like forever. So I love it. I feel like this is gonna last really long. It's gonna be super consistent. You know, I've heard some stuff about Otter mesh that the bottom string, if you don't use a shooter, it's gonna rip. But I kind of got lazy, I guess you could say, and didn't want to cut a shooter for the bottom string. But obviously, that's like a 5-minute fix. If I want to fix it, then I will. But I'm probably not gonna hold on to this. I had a real big debate about selling or keeping this head, because, you know, I take face off, so I really thought about using it. And this mesh pushes in so perfectly for a face off. Like, it's so thin that it's not gonna like snag on the ball at all. Like, you can see there, it pushes in perfectly, and the ball just sits in there. It'll roll out this way. It's perfect. And, you know, the only reason I decided not to keep this is because if I were to use a NOS, it'd have to be the solid one, the no NOS. It's because I tried a little bit of just plunging with this, and I hated how the sidewall will collapse. So Nosex with the Otter mesh. Well, Otter mesh is great for face-offs. Nosex is great for face-offs also. So this is a wonderful combination for a Fogo. I'm going to put in the shooters. I'm going to do a nylon across this 9-diamond row and then 2 straights. That's what I decided on. And keep it white. But back to Otter mesh. Sorry for getting off topic. It strings up, and you can have your, quote, Goldilocks channel. If you've watched Mainly Mesh's videos before, I watched Chris's pattern on the Nosex right before I did this little review / pattern / whatever. His is different than mine. The only knot we have the same, I'm pretty sure, is this 2SI right there, which gives the basis of the pocket. Keeps it defined right there in the middle of the head where you want it to be. At least that's where I want it to be. You know, if you don't want a mid pocket, then do your own thing. But if you want a mid pocket, then use this pattern or his. They're both pretty sweet. But this will also sink low. It'll also not too high. It'll shift mid high. And this channel has sweet hold. The mesh grips the ball really well. I don't know if it's going to become a little bit less abrasive, I guess would be the adjective, over time. As it gets in, like, the mesh is going to get softer. It's already pretty soft. But I think over time it'll get softer and grip the ball a little bit less. So over time you'll lose hold because, you know. But as of right now, this is probably one of my favorite pockets. You know, I've thought about converting the String King from wax mesh just because of the consistency factor. I've never executed that plan or that thought. Who knows? I haven't even like thrown around with a stick with String King. Like, this is the first head I've used with String King mesh. Well, Otter mesh, but it's manufactured by String King, so same thing. But I definitely want to try it out because it's just sick. And this mesh is so light, it's like barely noticeable. This head is probably one of the lightest combinations ever, except for like the Tribe 7, the Ghost 7 if you strung it up with this, or maybe like a Clutch super light. something along the lines of that. Any super light head will probably just be like floating on top of your shaft. Barely notice it. When I was stringing this, it sounded like a ton of scandium right now. You can see that bend maybe. I don't know, it's just still a pretty light setup. I got that diamond deep hole right there. I'm probably going to cut and make another shaft and hopefully get that no nos and do this exact same pattern with the otter mesh and try that out. But because I'm going to get a no nos, this is going to be for sale. And while I debate how much I'm going to sell it for, I'm going to cut some shooters real quick. Alright, got my spools. So these things take forever to light. That's another reason why I like the cigarette lighters. So like I said, I'm going to do 2 straights and a stacked nylon on top of them. And then 1 nylon using cross lace. Give a little snap on the release. Another consistency factor, because sometimes the shooting strings can have some give in them. Now, won't give you that pop on the release. So I think I'm going to go through the sidewall hole that I skipped here for that shooting string. And just once through each diamond. And I haven't put in shooters yet. This is a live stringing of the shooters. Wow. So oof. This mesh is so soft that nylon feels like it's too much. But I don't know. Once I add the shooters in, we should be good. So that's on the 10 diamond row. These are going to be, or that was in the 9 diamond row, excuse me. These shooters are going to be in the 10 diamond row. So back to the pricing of this head. I got the head itself for $75. Okay, being honest, I got it for $75 from High Strung Lacrosse Canada on Instagram, and he'll validate that. You know, we worked out a deal for it, and I bought the Otter mesh for $40 from a tournament in Palm Coast like 2 weekends ago, like I mentioned. So what does that come out to? 115, 75 plus 40, yeah, 115. So I guess I'll sell it for 120, cause give or take some sidewall supplies and the labor I spent on it. But there's my Black Friday sale going on, so you guys will be able to get it for even cheaper than 120. So it'll be listed for 120. And if you take 15% off of 120, you'll be saving more than $15. So you'll probably get it for like 102.5 or something ridiculous like that, which is a wonderful deal. There's the first shooter. Like I said, the nylon stack. So I'll list this for
120 on my website, pocketpowerlax.com. Finish up this shooter. This should give it about mid-whip with a nice snappy release, some good feel of the ball in the pocket. That's something I really like about Otter mesh that I've mentioned. It's so light and soft that you have such a great feel of the ball in the pocket. I noticed that from just cradling around with it. I didn't have to play with it. It's just so obvious. It's not really like soft mesh. Well, I guess the feel factor of it's soft mesh, but it's just, you just know where the ball is in the pocket all the time. It's great. So, see if I can sneak this shooter back under the sidewall somehow without ripping this $4 piece of mesh. This is always such a difficulty when you do knots up top. Push the sidewall back, or the shooting string under. It's easier to go in. It's easy to go in from this side, but getting it under and out is so much harder. That's nice. That's real nice. It's got, can already tell it's gonna have about mid-whip. Yeah. And a nice snap off the nylon. So, I'm gonna trim these up. Tie it off. My fan's blowing a breeze, so I kind of got to shield the flame from that. So, here it is. Completely finished, and just get these shooter tensions right. Alright. That's it. Here, this is where I tied off the shooters in relation to the sidewall knot. So you can see this is through the sidewall hole. That's above the knot in the KSI there. That's above it as well. Just weaved it through each diamond once. Tied off on the other side in the same locations. It's mid pocket with some crazy hold. And mid-whip, you know, I don't think I did a vertical hold test, but just to show you guys, this channel holds the ball pretty darn nice. You know, that's just the test, but you know, when you're throwing fakes and stuff, this channel holds it even better, which I can't really show right now unless I was like, not really, it doesn't really work. But yeah, that's about it. So you saw me string the sidewall, install the shooters, talk a little bit about Otter mesh.
It's really grown on me. When I first heard about it, I didn't think it was always hyped up to be, lightest mesh on the market, $40. Is it worth it? Might be. So I'd have to use it to really figure out if it's worth the buck, but I'd say it's safe to say it is. So let me know what you guys think of this pattern. If you use it, maybe even a pattern that you use, which you find is functional with Otter mesh or with other mesh. Whatever, just let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe. Have a happy Thanksgiving. See you later.